The series begins with a guy who possesses unbelievable, remarkable abilities. We soon discover that he gains physical might whenever he acquires additional funds. In the current era, Sanung reflects on his earlier existence where he had these astonishing skills. He mentions that those times were the most joyful periods of his life. Next, we encounter his partner, Minsuk. He has been with Sanung for 9 years. She is the one who managed and structured everything in his life. She meant the world to him. They both shared the aspiration of owning a large home that belonged to them. However, when they visited the property agency, they learned that the property they desired cost $700 million. Both were stunned by the amount, but they ultimately decided to save for 5 years. Following that, they returned to their place and strategized on how to accumulate wealth. While they are discussing, Sanung gets a notification that the product he ordered is arriving soon. Minsuk instantly grows wary and attempts to snatch his device. Sanung deceives her and fabricates an excuse. He claims that he purchased a bike for courier jobs. Then we realize that Minsuk is the person who obsessively dreams about owning a residence. She is extremely disciplined and constantly seeks to regulate how her partner uses funds. After a while, she sells her gaming console, leaving Sanung totally perplexed. He fails to comprehend what she is scheming. Subsequently, we find out that she did this to accelerate their marriage. Abruptly, Sanung receives a text from his dad urging him to return home, since there's something crucial. Sanung promptly heads to his residence. We observe that he owns a property beyond the urban area. Upon arrival, the initial individual he meets is his mom, whom he respectfully acknowledges. Afterward, he greets his dad's side of the family. From his statements, it's evident that their bond is strained. Amid this strain, the narrative shifts us to the history. When Sanung was 9, his household faced extreme economic hardships. His dad owed substantial debts, worsening their family situation. One day, Sanung and his father argued over a fragile savings jar. During this conflict, it drops onto the ground and shatters into fragments. Sanung states, "Folks claim that as you mature, you forgive your guardians. But that didn't apply to me." He blames his dad for being an irresponsible person who squandered everything. When he questions Sanung about why he summoned him, his dad assumes he lost his employment and inquires if he needs money. Sanung hands over $10,000. His dad then extends his palm and informs him that he's about to pass on something to his kin. The ability functions such that whenever Sanung receives cash or his assets grow, he obtains otherworldly talents with this freshly acquired force. Sanung's dad unexpectedly strikes him firmly on the face. Sanung triggers his capabilities and recovers right away. This confirms that his ability is genuine. His dad then describes how he obtained these skills and states that it's his legacy. Sanung is informed of 2 essential guidelines. First, he must assist those individuals who are in need. Second, he should never utilize another person's funds. At that moment, Sanung tries to return the ability to his dad. But his dad declares that it's impossible since he's already employing it. As Sanung departs, his dad provides him with a contact number and advises that if he's in grave peril, then dial this number. Following that, Sanung visits his partner Minsuk. Initially, he conceals his fresh skills from her, but ultimately he has no alternative, because nothing remains hidden from Minsuk forever. Minsuk refuses to accept it and thinks it's a fabrication. But Sanung insists, "Observe this." He pulls out his wallet and instructs him to concentrate. At that instant, he bends a metallic item. Minsuk is astonished and amazed. She can't fathom what she witnessed. She gives him additional funds and another metallic part. Sanung repeats the action. Then Minsuk consents and accepts that her abilities are authentic. But since Minsuk is highly disciplined and orderly, she begins inquiring about how these abilities truly operate and about their joint ambitions of constructing a home and achieving wealth. To explore the actual boundaries, she chooses to examine them. She meticulously observes how it functions. She also establishes numerous strict regulations for him. She cautions him not to squander or misuse them since they must become affluent and purchase a residence. After these guidelines, she departs. At that moment, Sanung by himself experiments with his skills. He abruptly leaps into the atmosphere, over the high structures and wander freely. He enjoys his abilities immensely. But as his funds diminish, he returns to normal. I inherited from my dad. But what a meager legacy. The following day, he awakens and prepares to head to his job. Then we discover that Minsuk has already issued firm directives for him. She instructs him not to expend money on unnecessary items, not to sprint, and not to waste any surplus effort. Because now every action requires funds. And funds are what they require to accumulate. On his path, Sanung spots an elderly lady struggling to carry bulky items. He desires to aid her but abruptly recalls Minsuk's regulations. The lady becomes annoyed and departs in a taxi. Later, upon entering her workplace building, the entrance shuts, causing it to strike a guy and spill his beverage. Shortly after, he sees a woman carrying heavy containers. But he avoids assisting once more to preserve his funds. When he eventually arrives at his job, his supervisor overlooks all his errors and states that no issues occurred today. The supervisor questions why he seems different. But Sanung conceals his ability by fabricating a story. He deceives and then exits. That evening, Sanung suggests that he ought to put money into investments. But she promptly dismisses it and declares, "I object to speculations, digital currency, or such absurdities." This discussion ends here. Instead, she proposes that whatever items are not required should be sold, so that we can conserve more. She even demands that both gadgets should be disposed of. She insists that we consume less than necessary. Sanung pauses, but ultimately he complies. He lists the items and ventures out. While he does so, a guy purchases the gaming console, which Minsuk had listed for sale. When he encounters him, the guy mentions that the individual who reached out to me was a female. "What occurred?" Sanung responds, "She is my spouse. They instructed me to encounter you." He thoroughly inspects it and is very pleased with its state. He provides the guy cash and departs. But as he walks away, he overhears that the guy from whom he acquired the console has been attacked by thugs attempting to rob him. Sanung desires to assist him, but he recalls that he must not expend funds. Ultimately, he flees the scene. When he returns home, Minsuk inquires why he appears so disturbed and scared. Sanung fabricates another story and claims, "I was merely jogging and misplaced one item." That evening, Sanung plays his fresh game while Minsuk is occupied elsewhere. At the same moment, we observe that Sanung's palms begin developing minor injuries, the kind that appears when he fails to employ his abilities. The following day, he encounters his mom in a market. She mentions that she has a gift for him, but she becomes astonished when she notices injuries on his hands. She informs him that her dad also had similar an injury, but since her dad always utilized his abilities, it was never revealed to him. Her mom then provides him 30 million and states that this is my total savings for you and Minsuk because you desire to wed. She mentions that she and her dad are traveling to Spain. She bids farewell and departs. Sanung also says goodbye to her. But as soon as he is on the street, something horrific occurs. A vehicle collides with several cars, leading to a major crash. When Sanung witnesses it, he is terrified. Then he spots that a vehicle carrying passengers is plunging into the ocean. Sanung glances at himself but can't bear that blameless folks perish. He resolves that regardless of the consequences, he will employ his abilities. He remembers the phrase that he must aid people in distress. He dashes forward, grabs the vehicle and prevents it from submerging. Ultimately, he rescues everybody. As soon as he rescues them, the 30 million that she had given him, they vanish. Then we see a young woman who is encircled by criminals. The thugs have no clue that this young woman is part of those who possess otherworldly abilities. We quickly learn that she has the capability of fire manipulation. She employs her skills to repel the thugs. After a period, the criminal head arrives. Her name is Joanna. She runs a highly perilous illegal syndicate, who unlawfully engages in human organ smuggling. Joanna confronts the young woman and declares, "Believe me, your abilities hold no value." She commences torturing her. In truth, Joanna aims to exploit her for her unlawful activities to expand. On the opposite side of the tale, we see individuals who have remarkable powers and are searching for their lost companion. Bong is also a barrister who has otherworldly skills. His strength amplifies whenever he consumes alcohol. He possesses Bong's assistance. His might grows whenever he ingests large quantities, and his preferred meal is pastries. They are looking for the one who had the capability of flame control. When they gather at a table, Bong and I shows them a clip in which a guy rescues a vehicle from plunging. They discover that the guy has otherworldly powers, but they are surprised when they observe that currency flies out of his pouch. Each time he utilizes his skills, they resolve to locate him as quickly as possible so that he can assist in rescuing the young woman. After that, we return to our protagonist Sunwook, who is currently in prison. Authorities have detained him and he has no knowledge of the offense he is accused of. The inmates around him begin mocking and bullying him, but Sanung rejects all claims and maintains that he lacks any ability. Abruptly, Sanung recalls that his dad once mentioned that if he is in severe trouble, he should contact a particular phone number. When he dials it, we learn that it belongs to a female syndicate leader. This woman has numerous unpaid loans that Sunung's dad owes her. The next day, Sanung is freed from custody and numerous men who work for the syndicate leader. They escort him to their vehicle and transport him to her headquarters. There, she informs him that she is aware he has abilities and she reminds him that his dad owes her a large sum. Suddenly, without notice, a guy assaults Sanung on the back. Meanwhile, Connie and Joanna, who are conducting their unlawful operations connected to her, she removes fire abilities from the young woman whom she had captured. After that, she commands to target Sunung's location, stating that this could involve draining or depleting him. On the other hand, Sanung regains consciousness and understands that he escaped the female syndicate leader, who demanded his father's death. The funds are present and he declares, "I wish to test your abilities with me." Immediately, syndicate members begin to ruthlessly beat him. He remains silent. He is bewildered about what is happening. Eventually, the syndicate members believe he is deceased and cease the assault. But as soon as Sanung touches the funds, his injury mends entirely. His discomfort vanishes and his abilities return. Then he punches a guy forcefully. He lifts him into the atmosphere. In the chamber, every syndicate member and the leader is terrified by his skills. Also, we learn a crucial fact that whenever Sunu depletes his resources, his physique becomes frail, fatigued, and inert. After this, the leader orders her subordinates to halt. She approaches Sunu and questions where his dad is. Sunu informs her that his dad has passed away. Then he reveals a startling fact that your dad borrowed 3 billion from her and now I demand that sum from you. Sanung is astonished by this revelation, but the lady calmly informs him that there's a straightforward scheme that she can execute. The one provided to her will recover all the funds. That scheme is basic. She wants him to wed her child. She desires complete authority. Soon the lady learns that Sanung already has a partner whom he adores greatly. She promptly makes that girl her fresh objective. She cautions that there are numerous illegal groups that aim to exploit him and her existence is in grave peril. Sanung escapes from her grasp. That evening, he returns to his residence. His partner Minsuk displays him a popular clip in which he is rescuing people and questions him where all that cash came from which he used for those feats. Sanung becomes anxious and attempts to deceive. But when she raises her voice, she discloses the reality, that the 30 million that her mom provided her. Minsuk grieves the depletion and informs her that she is a companion's. Before she departs, she poses a query. When will our turn arrive? Sanung is unable to respond. Sad and disheartened, Minsuk departs. Abruptly, when Sanung steps outside, a massive blast occurs in the structure where he used to reside. We discover that her explosion was carried out by a notorious Mundane Vanguard. Fierce empowered offenders. Sanung dashes to a secluded dwelling where his kin used to stay. He begins pondering who they are and why they are pursuing him. He contacts him repeatedly, but he doesn't answer. The following day, Minsuk attends the gathering where he intended to go. When she checks her device, she sees numerous unanswered calls and messages from him. But we observe that Joanna is tracking Minsuk and planning to injure him. Suddenly, a mighty blast happens. Chaos ensues because everybody yells and tries to preserve their existence. Meanwhile, Sanung sees breaking updates which lead to the inn where Minsuk had gone. He is on fire. He is frightened and dials repeatedly, but she still doesn't reply. Sanung rushes toward the metropolis. At Minsuk the inn, Sanung rushes toward the inn amid the disorder. An unidentified assailant aims at Minsuk, but she is spared. She is amazed when she sees Sung hoisting a massive barrier that protected her. Using all his skills, Sung moves it aside and embraces Minsuk. But Minsuk becomes terrified when she comprehends that the funds expended were all their reserves. Sung once more employs his skills to extinguish the flames and rescue everybody. Saving Sung informs Minsuk for the moment that he truly desires their marriage. Minsuk is touched and attempts to embrace her. But abruptly a flame assault targets her. Joanna dispatches using the skills. Sung resolves a fierce confrontation commences. Both utilize their otherworldly skills. Ultimately, since Sung possesses more funds, he defeats his adversary. Minsuk's life is preserved once more. But Minsuk is concerned about endurance or threat. His thoughts are on the funds that he expended. When Sung collapses on the floor exhausted, Bong and Bong Mi, the duo who have remarkable powers, arrive there. They inform him that they know about the extraordinary skills of Sung is perplexed as to why they are aiding him. But Bong clarifies that Sung's dad frequently supplied him warm beverages and he performed a major favor for him. He then provides Sung some money so that they can escape securely. At that moment, Sung and Minsuk are with the barrister and Bong. After a while, Sung abruptly awakens in the barrister's office. The barrister once more clarifies to him that he is not the sole one with superpowers. There are others similar to him. Bongmi is one of them. He states that his ability is enhanced by liquor but only when he drinks. He also mentions that Bongmi's ability is to battle with her bay fists and that it can only function. The barrister proceeds and informs Sung that the empowered people whose objective is to alter society are the ones who gather such individuals. But Sung firmly rejects that he employs his skills to earn and attempts to depart. At that moment, the barrister guides him to a chamber where there is secret data about empowered people. Data about those who have made others victims. The barrister discloses that Sung is their primary targets. Elsewhere, Joanna, Mundane Vanguard. She contacts her dad and informs him that she attempted to seize him but unsuccessful. She describes that Sung is under the safeguard, but she is determined to seize Sung. When the barrister informs Sung that she is dangerous and the Mundane Vanguard supports her, Sung becomes alarmed. He questions what to do next. Bong advises him to live an ordinary existence, but to practice workouts and visit the fitness center to become robust. Bong then instructs Sung in combat sports. But without employing his money-based skills, Sung defeats Bong easily because he is more powerful and skilled. Realizing this, Sung undergoes rigorous training. He pushes himself to the extreme. Ultimately, he develops genuine bodily strength through effort and determination. After that, Bong soon displays the large structure where he conducts his unlawful operations. His present task is to demolish the location entirely. On the other side, Bong Mi soon provides unique undergarments so that he can store funds so that he avoids errors. She gives him a facial covering so that he conceals his persona. After days of preparation, Sung gains noticeable muscle and power. He wears the covering whenever he needs to hide his identity. The next day, Bong and Bogmi escort Sung to a hamlet where an elderly gentleman resides. This gentleman is also an empowered person. His skill is to foresee events. Sung meets the gentleman's home. Abruptly, the gentleman strikes the surface forcefully, and the entire residence begins trembling. In an instant, his gaze becomes vacant. Sung becomes frightened. The elderly gentleman then utters words that Sung can't comprehend. After a period, the gentleman reverts to his usual condition as if nothing occurred. After Sung exits, the barrister clarifies that the elderly gentleman has the skill to predict the future. But each time he foresees the future, he forgets the past. When the trio are together, the elderly gentleman abruptly emerges and alerts them that Joanna is approaching. At the same moment, Joanna's troops suddenly assault. Bong swiftly consumes liquor to activate his skill, then combats Anna's forces. Although he was far superior, he battles valiantly. Sung observes that Joanna's troops are beginning to overpower them. At that instant, he recalls that the lady had informed him earlier that his dad is a creditor and she desired him to wed a child. Sung reaches out to her and states that he will do what she desires, but first cease this. Soon, Joanna herself arrives. She heads the Mundane group, and she commands a vast force. When the elderly gentleman sees Joanna, he employs his skill to foresee her future and informs her that demise is nearer than you believe. Your projectile will strike you. Joanna becomes furious and shoots the elderly gentleman. But sadly, the projectile ricochets from the air. Now her pouches are filled with funds. An intense confrontation commences. Sung employs his skills to vanquish every foe. Along with Bong and Bongni collectively, they utilize skills from liquor and confections. With their united power, they overcome all troops. But abruptly, another empowered individual emerges. He utterly defeats the ones Joanna brought with her. His skill is sheer bodily power, and he possesses flame in his palms. He relentlessly assaults. Wherever he contacts, his form ignites. In the interim, the funds begin depleting, and as soon as that occurs, his skills begin fading. Still, he does not yield. He strikes the opponent from behind and hurls him into a structure far away. The outcome of that is the flame palms are quenched. After that, they both engage in the conflict. He attempts, but fortunately the individual obtains coins in his grasp. These coins instantly restore power, which preserves him and revives him. Whoever is observing was astonished to see how potent he becomes whenever he possesses funds. Soon Joanna gets a call from someone who instructs her to withdraw the forces. When the individual answers the call, a voice states, "You are aware. How much authority does the mundane group possess? Our conflict is founded on resources. The one who possesses more funds is mighty. So what do you think? How will it conclude if I transfer my superpower from there?" After that day, Mundane Group halts its assaults. On the other side, Minsuk contacts Sung and states that both her guardians are arriving soon. Soon the authorities reach the location. An investigator notices coins and a debt agreement with the Kang's song on it. Sanung encounters his guardians again and informs them that he plans to wed and he desires to meet Minsuk's guardians. His guardians are delighted about this. Sanung informs his dad that the Mundane Group has offered him his skills. His dad cautions to be vigilant. He states that it is a perilous organization and he should not believe them. Later, Sanung goes home contemplating his dad's words and Mundane's proposal. He ponders with whom to discuss and then to Bongmi. He visits the pastry shop where he is employed and questions him if anyone has sold their skills. Bongmi informs him that they are extremely hazardous and now they have Hua Jin, the young woman whose skill was flame. They have extracted her skills. She shows him documents containing the superpowers and those individuals who have traded their skills. Meanwhile, Bong visits a physician where he learns that due to over-consuming liquor, his organs have been harmed, which he needs to trigger. Elsewhere, Joe and Anna are with their dad. His dad states that whatever he undertakes, he must offer any sum to acquire Sanung's super ability. At this moment, Sanung tallies all his obligations and other essential funds. He contacts the Mundane Group and informs him that he has made a choice. He will trade his ability for 4.6 billion. That individual agrees and informs him that when all is prepared, he will specify a time and venue for the transaction. Joyful and eased, Sanung meets Minsuk. He buys costly treats for her that she enjoys. Then he takes her outside and soars with her. He elevates her to the peak. He informs her that he is one of them and begins descending. Minsuk becomes frightened and pleads him to halt. She informs him that it is risky. Sanung acts as if he is about to plummet. But abruptly he presents a band and places it on her digit. Minsuk is ecstatic, but she questions why he did all this. He states, "I will clarify when the appropriate moment arrives." They both joyfully brimming with happiness. The next day, Sanung arrives at work in excellent spirits. He begins aiding others. Everybody around him is surprised by this abrupt shift. When he is working, a client arrives and presents himself as Joe Nathan. He behaves in an odd and disturbing way, which makes Sanung doubtful. But he alters the subject. Abruptly, law enforcement agents arrive for Sanung. Sanung flees from his job site immediately, evading the agents, enters a vehicle and drives at maximum velocity. After Sanung contacts the head of the group, and states that he desires his ability now. When he reaches the Mundane site, he encounters Bongmi there. They question each other why they are present and they commence battling. Both employ their skills. Abruptly Bong arrives there and hurls items and debris. Along with her, she consumes her treats, triggers her the power line from afar and directs it towards Sanung and Bong. A tripartite clash begins. Everyone utilizes their capabilities and combats fiercely until the origins of funds, treats, and liquor are depleted. After Sanung proceeds to Mundane Residence, the location where his ability is to be removed. As soon as he enters, he sees Anna, who directs him to the surgical bed. Sanung declines and demands him to provide payment first. When the funds are displayed, Sanung lies on the surgical bed and his limbs are secured with metallic bindings. At that moment, Anna receives a call. She instructs her subordinates to eliminate him as soon as the ability is removed. But something unforeseen occurs. Sanung, Bong and Bongmi had already orchestrated everything. Sanung arrived here intentionally so that he could penetrate and recover documents and substances at Anna and declares, "My ability is my heritage. I will never trade it." As soon as he attempts to remove it, Bong abruptly bursts in and assaults the container. Money erupts everywhere and it disperses. Along with that, Bong Mi severs the power supply with Sunum, who recovers her power and shatters the metallic bindings. The subordinates attempt to intervene, but Sanung dominates all. Sanung then enters a recollection showing how it was orchestrated. When he and Bongmi probed, they uncovered Mundane Vanguard. That's when they chose to feign selling so that they could penetrate. As soon as the removal starts, Bong and Bongmi will intervene. After overcoming, Bong encounters Sanung inside. Together, they access a large vault and extract all the documents. They seize the super ability substances. They both documents and funds. When the foes begin attacking, Sanung conceals the container of funds in a secure spot. At that moment, Minsuk contacts Sanung and states that only 2 days remain for both the kin to meet. She states that she found a reduced-price eatery and the gathering is Friday at 7 p.m. She instructs to notify. When Sanung attempts to escape from there, abruptly he is encircled by armed individuals. Anyway, Bongmi arrives in time. She rams them with a vehicle and collects Sanung and Bong. In the vehicle, Sanung senses that he has 4 billion. He mentions a name like Joe Nathan. Sanung abruptly recalls the individual he encountered at his job prior. Joe Nathan discovers that he is the Mundane Group, Anna's sibling, the super ability removal tools. Sanung and his companions locate Joe Nathan's location and eventually discover it. When they enter his residence, they find that it is totally vacant, but they discover a distant monitoring device set up. When they examine it, they see that the individuals are leaping from structures while Joe Nathan observes. That same evening, when Sanung returns home, he sees that Minsuk is absent. He has prepared meals for him and left a message which says, "Return early tomorrow." The next day, Sanung at work, his supervisor severely reprimands him and states that for 3 months, his pay is withheld. This is because the authorities visited his job site and caused disorder inside. He has to submit a formal statement and, after this, Sanung is taken to the authorities station where he is questioned. The investigator gives him advice and cautions him not to meddle in matters which are their duty. When Sanung exits, Bong informs him that the investigator was the one who once possessed super ability. Elsewhere, Jonathan and his sibling, Anna, we learn that they detest each other profoundly. From youth, their bond was so poisonous that Anna desired to fire at him. His dad returns and assigns Jonathan the lab oversight where superpowers and associated initiatives are handled. Meanwhile, Sanung and his group probe individuals. Barristers think that the group is performing unlawful tests, which include substances and chemicals. These substances are distributed to ordinary people, which drive them insane, lead to frenzy, and ultimately self-destruction. The distribution occurs via nightlife venues, in particular Hue Luxury Purse. The group resolves that this corrupt group must be halted before additional blameless individuals perish. Sanung goes back home where Minsuk is full of enthusiasm. She shows him fresh, costly attire that she bought for both the kin gatherings. In the morning, Sanung dons his outfit when Minsuk chooses appropriate clothing. After that, he kin meal together. Sanung resolves that to attend the kin meal, the substances-based luxury purse. Sanung and his group arrive and locate the Crimson Luxury Purse. Sanung and Bong cautiously hunt. Although there are numerous crimson purses in there, they eventually locate the correct one. The purse is held by a woman who is Jonathan's associate. Sanung attempts to seize it from her, but the woman is an empowered person. She fiercely opposes her funds and her skills, and with savage might, she directs her assault in a different path. Finally, Sanung succeeds in delivering a strong strike. The purse is taken away by him. But as soon as he attempts to escape, he uncovers something about Jonathan's actual scheme. Abruptly, the illumination extinguishes. An announcement declares that there is a unique gift. Whoever possesses the crimson luxury purse will become a unique individual. Immediately, all the lights focus on Sanung. The individuals with crimson purse begin assaulting it aggressively. The purse is attempted to be snatched away. Sanung has to trigger his abilities, so the mob overpowers him. Bong frantically attempts to reach the purse, but she can't access it. Bong aids Sanung, but when he comprehends that Sanung is in grave peril, he intervenes. Minsuk contacts Sanung because of their kin gathering, but Sanung is trapped and misses his call. At that instant, Bong abruptly enters through his companions. Seized rescues him. On the side, Bong attempts to lift Sanung and attempts to flee. The investigators seize him and everybody is astonished. Fortunately, Bong swiftly grabs a crimson fabric and flees. He reaches his companions on schedule. The investigator pursues him in vain and comprehends that he has failed and is frustrated. Sanung, Bong and Bongmi all three secure the purse and at a height. Sanung promptly readies to depart. Bong questions where he is heading. Sanung answers that he is going to the meal where Minsuk's kin and his kin are meeting for the first time. Bong urges him to proceed. He provides cash funds, motivates him and adjusts his attire too. He informs her, "I understand how challenging it is despite remarkable ability. It is a substantial load." Sanung then departs, to the meal swiftly. Meanwhile, Minsuk's kin and Sanung's kin are still awaiting her to arrive so that they can commence. There is a knock. Minsuk believes that it is Sanung, but when she unlocks, the investigator is present. Everybody becomes tense. The investigator speaks to Minsuk and says, "Inform me where Sanung is." "Where is he?" She answers, "I don't know where he is." The investigator says he is a suspect and Sanung further. Minsuk responds angrily, "Do you truly think that he has super abilities and funds is his might? I thought you investigators are more intelligent than that." She chuckles and all of them emerge who are present. As soon as she finishes speaking, many law enforcement agents appear. That precise instant, Sanung arrives. Minsuk continues her statement and declares that Sanung employs his funds to aid others, offenders and substance traffickers, and performs such deeds which no one else does. She challenges him and says, "Do you really want to detain someone who does this? You are the one who has unsuccessful." Sanung advances and expresses regret. Minsuk glances at her and says, "Didn't I instruct you not to arrive late?" Now he expresses regret again that he committed an error again. Elsewhere, we see Bong and Bongmi heading to a spot discussing. Bong questions who contacted. Bongmi says, "I thought you contacted." Bong answers, "No." Abruptly, Joanna appears and says, "I contacted. It was essential because unlawful actions were occurring." Bongmi attempts to depart, but she notices a weapon pointed and stops. Then we see Sanung being detained says, "I committed no offense." The investigator answers, "Didn't I caution you that if I catch you I will detain you?" Too many individuals are affected. Sanung replies, "So what do you expect me to do? I can't do nothing when offenders harm people. Although we possess abilities that can help." The investigator remains silent without responding. Another evening arrives. We see Minsuk solitary at home overwhelmed. She is removing items. She stands and looks around. She discovers a paper, a debt document. She examines it and comprehends that it is 25 million obligations Sun Hong owes from Zhong Jie. She is even more astonished and she doesn't know what to do. The next day, we see Jonathan encounter Sun Hong in a spot. He ridicules him and says, "You have no clue how much trouble you are in." We view recollections of the initial day when Jonathan observed the ability of when he rescued and assisted covertly. The evening when he raided the substance venue. Jonathan says, "I have all to dominate you and I am here." He rotates and suddenly halts and says, "What is her name, Minsuk?" Sanung stops and answers, "Yes." Jonathan stays at him in a chilling tone. If Minsuk comes close to me, she will perish. On the other side, Minsuk begins sensing that someone is trailing her. She attempts to escape, but wherever she proceeds, they pursue her. Along with that, we see Sanung quietly escorted to a place by her offender group, accompanied. He attempts to resist, but then abruptly comprehends that his companions Bong and Bongmi are held by other offenders. Shocked, Sanung questions what is occurring. He responds this is standard. They are escorted to an office. Joanna says to Bong, I did what you requested. I brought your companion. Now you must do what I request. She clarifies that she contacted her sibling Jonathan and offered him a deal. But Sanung is doubtful of her and of disloyalty. Joanna clarifies that a depository facility is to be assaulted and Sanung questions. Jonathan's the depository facility. She answers that her dad no longer trusts her and she needs all the super ability substances to herself. She also discloses that the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety possesses many hazardous materials. If those substances reach the market, it will devastate. They will ruin innumerable lives and all. They are stunned by the gravity of the situation. Bong states that his task is to retrieve substances from the depository facility and prevent them from her. Joanna then provides them the concealed area where there are substance storages, monitoring devices, exit paths, and protection arrangement. She cautions to be extraordinarily cautious so that they don't get captured. She provides them a tool and clarifies that it will assist them to open the substance holders. She also informs them that there is a concealed safe, but it will not be simple to access it. His dad requires approval. But she reminds him, you are super-empowered individuals. Your task is to do it. Jonathan does not desire this. When she departs, Sanung and her companions are still uncertain if they can rely on her, knowing how deceptive she is. They suspect that she is playing into her dad's hands. Sanung questions how can a woman do this, knowing how perilous he is. Bong answers, I know, but we must prevent this catastrophe before it happens. Sanung is still not persuaded and informs his companions that the woman only wants to eliminate him. Later, Sanung contacts Minsuk, who cautions him not to trust them. He questions why, and she clarifies that she overheard their scheme, that they are evil people. Sanung informs her that she misunderstood the entire circumstance. Minsuk then shows the debt paper. Sanung becomes astonished and questions how she obtained it. She informs that she found it along with Jongya, the same firm from which she obtained a loan. She becomes upset and questions why she is employed there. She answers that she did it without informing. She further states that the kin meal is already destroyed. Everything is disorganized, and it wouldn't have happened if she had used her funds to acquire power instead of fighting offenders and putting their lives in jeopardy instead. She says, you put our lives in danger. And to top it off, I'm very exhausted. Sanung embraces her and says, I also desire a joyful ordinary life with you. Like regular people, I want the same existence. That's why I'm doing all this. I want everything to be secure, and everything returns to normal. I am the one who can achieve this. Please have patience with me. Minsuk questions, how much funds do you require to complete this and end this horror? Sanung answers, 30 million. Obtain a loan for me. Minsuk visits Jongya. When questioned why the funds are needed, she clarifies that Sanung is going to penetrate. After persuading him, she obtains it and provides it to him. He becomes immensely thankful and relieved. The day of bank penetration arrives. Sanung and his companions are outside the depository facility. Its heavy defenses. They proceed inside. Joanna, who observes them from afar, covertly instructs her troops to eliminate Sanung and his companions as soon as they obtain it. Her actual scheme is to betray them and deliver them into her dad's hands. They enter the interior and commence their operation. Bong proceeds deeper inside when Sanung and Bongmi are handling protection cameras. Bong instructs them to proceed. They become alerted. All the entrances shut simultaneously. The trap is activated. A fierce confrontation begins. Sanung, Bong and Bongmi attempt to employ their abilities. Bongmi unlocks her entrance with force, and we see that the true objective is that Sanung is targeted. Her troops become active, but they face strong opposition. Sanung finds a surface with funds bound in plastic. He regains consciousness and comprehends that everything is soaked. Then he notices that Bongmi caused this. She is vomiting. Sanung informs her you overexerted yourself. Take some relaxation. Troops continue advancing. Bong comprehends that they are ensnared in a scheme, but he resolutely states, "We are not yielding." Sanung and Bong Mi inquire down and question if they located the concealed safes. Bong answers that there is one vault here. The circumstance becomes highly perilous. Their communication signal abruptly severed. Sanung and Bong Mi contact Bong, but when they arrive, they see Bong collapsed on the floor. They are stunned. At that moment, Jonathan arrives with his subordinates. He ridicules and says, "Now your ability is depleted. Does it activate when there is no more?" He provokes fury. Sanung answers, "Now I will demonstrate what I can achieve." Jonathan activates a gadget and states that as soon as all is prepared, I will unleash it. Sanung questions why all this. Jonathan answers that he desires dominance and he wants abilities for himself, which requires a large sum of funds. Troops taunt Sanung about their corruption. Sanung attempts to trigger with the remaining funds. Then he states that he promised Minsuk to convey something crucial. But first he must overcome them. A savage fight commences. Sanung combats. Abruptly, Bong regains consciousness. Sanung secures him in another chamber, giving up himself to preserve him. Jonathan's subordinates capture Bong and Bong Mi and bind their limbs. They attempt to escape, but abruptly, Sanung returns. In an explosive instant, everything surrounds him. His pockets are empty. He instructs Sanung Bong Mi to flee with Bong. "I'll conclude him." The foe fires at him, but he continues advancing. A violent confrontation persists. Jonathan mocks, "Is this your boundary?" Sanung assaults him, but then comprehends that his ability is diminishing. At that moment, the investigator crashes into the scene with his vehicle. He yells at Sanung, "Don't you understand? You have no ability." He pulls Sanung to safety and accuses Jonathan of distributing illicit substances. But the investigator fails to apprehend him. He shouts, "Why didn't I inform you that ordinary people get harmed?" He debates fiercely. The investigator states, "Offenders are always offenders from the beginning and will remain. Before you harm yourself, cease." Another day arrives. Joanna arrives at the store facility, confidently grinning. She commands him to gather. She obtains what she desires, but abruptly she sees that Jongya assaults her. She comprehends that she is trapped. The group that provided funds to her has arrived to reclaim. They commence battling. Sanung contacts his dad and informs him that his superpower is gone. His dad answers, "Didn't I inform you? That never employ another's funds." Sanung responds angrily, "Then where am I going to obtain it?" He questions when his ability will return. His dad answers that nobody knows. It's random. Sanung yells, "You knew it operates with funds, so why give me ability?" His dad calmly answers, "Because it's not about funds." Sanung yells, "Then about what?" His dad says, "If your ability was solely about funds, then would you let offenders triumph? Would you let your companions get injured? You used your mom's funds to rescue people. That funds is for you. Your ability is not funds. It is your compassion." Sanung becomes silent. He doesn't know what to say. His dad provides him a savings jar which contains coins and informs him that not everything is about funds. It is the individual who defines you. Sanung stays at the tiny savings jar, still in contemplation, that he lost his ability. When he enters the home, he contacts but his device keeps ringing. Then hears his voice. He is abducted. He seizes the device and a voice informs him that he is Jonathan. Sanung attempts to remain composed and converse carefully, but then gunfire sounds. He stops. On the side, Minsuk informs Jonathan that Sanung is approaching and he will defeat you. Jonathan doesn't take it seriously, but he states that a mighty man is coming to end it once and for all. Sanung in profound thought. He dons the outfit that Minsuk had given him. Memories flood his mind. Tears begin flowing. He ultimately thinks of Jonathan's female assassin. He questions where is Minsuk. She ridicules him and tosses funds at him. She says, "Show me your ability." Inside, Sanung thinks, "It's the identical thing that happened to me. If I had ability, anyone would come and seize it." She says, "If you defeat me now, you will get your partner back. You have a few days remaining." They commence battling, but Sanung is obviously weak. He is tired and he has no ability at all. She chuckles and says, "You lost your ability." Abruptly, Bongmi arrives and employs her ability. Bongmi arrives and strikes the foe against the wall. He encourages Sanung as a companion and says that he has never abandoned anything. Sanhong answers that he has no option, ability or not. Bong informs him to believe that he should not confront alone. Sanhong then proceeds toward the offenders who hold Minsuk. He comprehends that my ability didn't matter. I must rescue her. He ascends toward the offenders. He leaps onto them. He collides. The offenders rush toward him to eliminate him. But abruptly his ability returns that he grabs the funds and 10,000. A savage confrontation commences. Jonathan is informed that Sun Hong has returned. He holds Minsuk and sneers. "Your failure has arrived." He answers with demise is imminent. "You will all perish." Jonathan prepares himself. Meanwhile, Sun Hong has defeated the guards. He locates Minsuk and begins untying. He faces more foes. He obtains funds, but it's insufficient. As soon as he struggles, Bong and Bongmi arrive to him, attempting to assist him. The offenders take Minsuk as captive. She yells, "Be cautious, Sanong." Sanong sprints forward. His companions prepare. He leaps and reaches the spot where Minsuk is held. He's horrified. Jonathan jests and says, "Sanong, you're tardy." Sanong answers, "I was occupied." The projectile fires. Sunong's hand is injured. Minsuk screams in terror. Jonathan comprehends that Sanong has regained his ability. He instructs him to provide him his ability and spare him. "Then you and your partner can depart this." Jonathan holds a controller that is linked to explosives. If he activates it, everyone will perish. He says if you want to preserve them, go to the elevator. Sanong hesitates. Then the explosive suddenly detonates. Jonathan subordinates. Jonathan shoots toward him and Minsuk. At that instant, Sanong and Jonathan fall inside. Minsuk rushes to Sanong to aid, but he declines. The blast occurs. Sanong perishes. Another evening arrives. We see Bong and Bongmi viewing updates, heartbroken over their companion's demise. On the side, Minsuk is present. He discovers a tiny message in which Bong and Bongmi are to distribute. Bong informs them that maybe there is a method to revive him. He clarifies that the investigator has the ability to reverse time. Minsuk contacts the investigator. When she arrives, he questions, "Did Bong send you?" She nods her head and desperately pleads. Initially, the investigator declines. He says, "What's the purpose? I can't achieve it." But Minsuk persuades him, informs him about the arrangements which they had for marriage. Abruptly, he becomes emotional. In desperation, the investigator provides him his timepiece. Time promptly begins to reverse. Minsuk rushes to the location where Sun Hong was eliminated. She inserts funds in him and yells, "Sun Hong." Gradually, Sun Hong revives. They embrace. Both weep. Sun Hong thinks internally, "How did this happen? How did I return?" He is utterly amazed. The investigator observes him from afar. Bong and Bongmi are also present, joyful and emotional. As soon as they depart, Sun Hong abruptly says, "Hold on. I don't believe Jonathan is deceased." His companions are astonished. We see Jonathan approaching his dad. He says, "Is it so hard?" His dad answers, "I also pondered how you departed and how you returned." At that moment, Joanna arrives smiling, thinking that she has triumphed. She mocks him and Jonathan that these are his final words. When she shoots, the projectile rebounds and she collapses. Jonathan kneels and says, "You are the one who failed." He fires at her again and departs. Now weakened, Jonathan goes to a lab and administers himself ability-boosting materials so that he can gain power. Meanwhile, Sanong and his companions pursue Jonathan. They see his associates perishing and observe that Jonathan has several abilities. Sanong receives a call. It's Jonathan. He says we conclude our business. Sanong questions where he is. Then we see Jonathan setting everything ablaze. He holds a young child and mocks her. At that moment, Sanong arrives and requests him to release the child. Finally, Sanung and Jonathan are confronting each other. Jonathan overpowers Sanung with his abilities. But Sanung is not afraid at all. He calmly states, "I know what you're pondering. I know it seems wonderful, but it won't occur. A ordinary existence is the finest. Heed my suggestion." Jonathan chokes and answers, "Do you desire ability again?" He seizes Sanung's limb and hurls him into the atmosphere. Sanung rushes to a vehicle and rescues the kin inside. He becomes enraged and charges at Jonathan, and they commence battling again. Jonathan questions, "How are you returned?" Sanung answers, "I was waiting for you to assault me and send you to prison." They fiercely combat using every ounce. Jonathan collapses to the floor utterly drained. But he doesn't yield and continues combating. Sanung struggles, prepared to conclude. Bong and Bong are prepared to aid their companion. But they don't intervene. Sanung collapses on the ground. Jonathan rises and mocks. "You don't have funds. What can you do? What happened? You didn't claim funds as power. Where is your ability now? Wasn't it your call?" He lifts Sanung and hurls him again. Sanung gradually stands. He says, "Who will stand against wrongdoing?" He attempts again but still collapses without ability and territory. A young child who was rescued by shouts, "You will triumph, don't fear." Sanung. Then other individuals encourage Sanung. When they provide, her ability returns. Along with that, Bong returns and she provides funds. Sanung gains immense power to rise again. Minsuk arrives to him and says, "Don't fret about this idiot." She also tosses funds at him. Law enforcement agents begin hurling coins toward him. Everybody assists him. Jonathan assaults Sanung. But abruptly Bong seizes Jonathan's hands, and he can't move. Bong secures his limbs and squeezes. Together they fully immobilize him. Sanung triumphs. He becomes a champion, and the illegal group is ultimately apprehended. One more day, we see Bong recovering her ability and assisting others. She is astonished and profoundly thankful. Bong grins and says, "Provide me some pastries." On the side, Sanung can now afford a flat. Minsuk is thrilled that her aspiration has realized. She dashes around the space excitedly. Sanung grins and says, "This is our residence." Then he says, "Didn't you mention that you want to share something?" She provides him a message. It states that she is expecting. Sanung is filled with joy. More than that, Minsuk grins and says, "I calculated that it requires 360 million. Sanung grins and answers, "This is joy. But the true query is, does it truly cost that? Where did you learn that?" She answers, "From the updates." And with this, the series concludes. Before departing, like the video, subscribe and activate the notification to stay updated. Goodbye. See you.